Welcome to another video. I'm Ken Marlin, the Windows Champ, and this is a quick video on the Qualcomm RB3 Gen 2 Dev Kit, which is a development board that actually supports Windows 11 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2024. Let's jump into it and take a look at the specs on this guy. So as we look at the specs on this guy, this is a dev board or dev kit, so it's some little boards that are sandwiched together for you to do your development testing. What's great about this board is it comes with the Qualcomm QCS6490, which is an octo-core CPU, an ARM processor. It's got the Adreno 643 GPU. AI performance is at 12 tops. It supports wireless networking, wired networking, Bluetooth. It comes with 128 gigabit flash already on the unit and 6 gigs of RAM. It's got many different connectors for you to interface with the board. And the process of loading Windows on the board is a little different than it would be for an x64 Intel-based architecture board. You ultimately have to put the board into a flash mode and then flash the operating system to the board, upon which then you reset the board and it will then boot into Windows. And I'll show you Windows running in just a moment. Let's take a look at the buttons. Starting with number 1 and number 2, that's your LEDs. Number 3 is your flash download button. And that's the button that you typically have to hold while you turn the unit on. Tiny little button, but yeah, you put your finger in there. I'll show you in a minute on the board. Hold it down while you turn it on. It puts it into a mode where you can then flash the OS image to the board. And then the important one, number 4, the tiny little power button. Number 5 and 6 are volume buttons, 7 unused, and 8 are your dip switches. Now if we take a look at the connectors, there's a lot of them. Starting with number 1, there's a micro SD board slot for a micro SD card. Although in the picture, number 1 looks like it's dip switches, which is interesting, but there is a SD card slot there. And number 2 is an antenna. 3 is where you hook your speakers. 4 is for the fan. We'll jump down. You got an external antenna, debug buttons. You got your 2 camera connectors, which has the vision kit. So it's got a high-res camera and a low-res camera hooked up to those ports on the board. And then, of course, 12 is your Ethernet port. There is micro USB and a couple of regular USB ports as well. And we'll look at that. But let's take a look at the board actually running Windows 11 IoT Enterprise LTSC. So as you're looking at this is the desktop of the unit already booted up and running Windows 11 LTSC. I'm going to open up the System tab here so you can take a look at the specs. See if we can make it bigger. So up here, you can see that it is using the Qualcomm QCS6490 running at 2.7 gigahertz. It's got 6 gigs of RAM installed, 120 gigs of storage. You can see those specs here under the processor in the middle. If I scroll down, you'll see the operating system is Windows 11 IoT Enterprise LTSC Evaluation version, build 24H2. And this takes a specific version of Windows 11 IoT that's for the ARM processor. So again, you have to download that particular image and flash that image to the board. It doesn't install like regular Windows. And then we'll take a look at the device manager, just to point out a few things, because device drivers are extremely important when it comes to an ARM board and boards supporting ARM architecture. And what you'll see, Qualcomm has done an incredible job with this board because they've gotten basically everything to function and the drivers are all there. The one thing to point out is there's 2 error messages for the Ethernet controller, but that's for a different controller on the board. This board actually does have an Ethernet driver. I'm actually running it on the wired Ethernet port right now. Runs fantastic. It also has the Wi-Fi 6E chipset driver working completely fine as well. I've ran it on the Wi-Fi network as well. So ultimately, even though there are these two issues, you don't have to worry about them. The board completely runs Windows fine and supports wired and wireless networking. And then down under security, there's an issue with the TPM module, but that too is also related to the operating system and the TPM support for the ARM architecture, which is being worked on by Qualcomm, but it doesn't prevent the box from fully being supported and working. So what I'm going to do now is I want to shut it down, and I'm going to switch to this camera here where we can take a look at the actual board. And let me start by, this is where the power port is. And it's funny because the power light still shows on, but the unit did shut all the way down. So, and that's just telling you that there is power to the board. So I'm going to undo the power. Get a better look here. Here was our Ethernet port that I was using. I'm going to unplug the Ethernet port and let you get a better view at that. Switching around to this side, we have the HDMI port, which was running the video there. So there again is your HDMI port. Set that off to the side. I have a keyboard and a mouse plugged in that I was driving that would. And so you have your two Type A USB ports here. There's a Type C right there, which you actually have to use to interface the board to another computer in order to flash the image to it. And then the power button that I was talking about, there it is. The power button is going to be the one closest to the outside there. And it's a tiny little button that you push from this side. Then the other two buttons are your volume up and down. These two pins here were for your external speakers, left and right speakers. And then there's a couple of LEDs that were pointed out earlier. We spin it around here. You've got more connectors for more development. There's the micro USB. Another display option there. Again, on this side was the power port. And where is that flash button at that you have to hold? Right there. So really hard to see, but right here. And you have to get your hand underneath and push up on it in there. That is your Qualcomm Robotics RB3 Gen 2 Dev Kit. There's a barcode here that if you want to get more info, you can certainly point your phone at and get more info on it. But Qualcomm has done a fantastic job at supporting the Windows 11 IoT operating system for this board, giving you another alternative option with high performance, low power, low battery requirements if you built a device that required a battery. Small form factor. You can see that this entire metal piece is the heatsink that's mounted to the actual CPU right in there. And then this top board is your Vision Kit, which has the two different cameras, a high res and a low res. But if you're looking to develop Windows IoT on an ARM processor, this is a great kit to start with. You don't have to get the Vision Kit. They have another kit without the Vision part, which would bring the price down, I assume. If you have any questions on this Qualcomm Dev Kit or any questions on Windows 11 IoT running on an ARM processor, reach out to me here at Arrow. I'm Ken Marlin, the Windows Champ. Thank you for watching.